Douglas Adams, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Chapter 3. On this particular Thursday, something was moving quietly through the ionosphere many miles above the surface of the planet. Some things, in fact, several dozen huge yellow chunky slab-like something, huge as office block, silent as birds. They soared with ease, basking in electromagnetic rays from the star soul, biding their time, grouping, preparing. The planet beneath them was also perfectly oblivious of their presence, which was just how they wanted it for the moment. The huge yellow somethings went unnoticed. Grown hilly, they passed over Cape Canaveral without a blip. Woomera and Jorel Bank looked straight through them, which was a pity, because it was exactly the sort of thing they'd been looking for all these years. The only place they registered at all was on a small black device called a sub-ESA sense-o-matic, which winked away quietly to itself. It nestled in the darkness inside a leather satchel, which, for the perfect, habitually was slung around his neck. The contents of Ford Perfect satchel were quite interesting. In fact, that would have made any Earth physicist's eyes pop out of his head, which is why he always concealed them by keeping a couple of dog-eared scripts for plays he pretended he was auditioning for stuffed in the top. Besides the sub-ESA sense-o-matic and the script, he had an electronic thumb, a short, squat black rod, smooth and matte, with a couple of flat switches and dial at one end. He also had a device which looked rather like a largish electronic calculator. This had about 100 tiny flat press buttons and a screen about 4 inches square on which any one of a million pages could be summoned at a moment's notice. It looked insanely complicated, and this was one of the reasons why the snug plastic cover it fitted into had the word "Don't Panic" printed on it in large friendly letters. The other reason was that this device was in fact the most remarkable of all books ever to come out of the great publishing corporation of Ursa Minors, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The reason why it was published in the form of a Microsoft Mason electronic component is that if it were printed in normal book form, interstellar hitchhikers would require several inconveniently large buildings to carry it around in. Business that in for the perfect satchel were a few mirrors, a notepad, and a large bath towel from Marks and Spencer. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has a few things to say on the subject of a towel. A towel itself is about the most massively useful thing an interstellar hitchhiker can have. Partly it has great practical value. You can wrap it around you for warmth as you wound across the cold moons of Jalgran Beta. You can lie on it on the brilliant marble-sanded beaches of Central Guineas 5, inhaling the heavy sea vapor, You can sleep under it beneath the star which shines so redly on the desert world of Kavropon. Use it to sail a mini raft down the slow, heavy river moss. Ready for use in hand-to-hand combat. Wrap it round your head to ward off noxious fumes or avoid the gaze of the ravenous bug-blatter beast of Tral, a mind-blowing stupid animal. It assumes that if you can't see it can't see you. Daft as a brush, but very, very ravenous. You can wave your towel in emergency as a distress signal, and of course dry yourself off with it if it still seems to be clean enough. More importantly, the towel had immense psychological value. For someone leads, if a stag non-hitchhiker, discovers that the hitchhiker has his towel with him, he will automatically assume that he is also in possession of a toothbrush, face planner, soap, tin of biscuit, flask, compass, map, rubber string, nut spray, wet weather gear, spacesuit, etc., etc. Furthermore, the stag will then happily lend the hitchhikers any of these or a dozen other items that the hitchhikers might accidentally have lost. What the stag will think is that any man who can hitch the length and breadth of the galaxy, rough it, slap it, struggle against terrible odds with through, and still know where his towel is clearly a man to be reckoned with. Hence, a phrase which has passed into hitchhiking slang, as in, "Hey, you sass, the whoopee for the perfect." There's a prude who really knows where his towel is. Sass, no? Be aware of, meet, have sex with, whoopee, really together guy, prude, really amazingly together guy. Nestling quietly on top of a tower in for the perfect satchel, the sub-asa sense-o-matic begin to wink more quickly. While over the surface of the planet, the huge yellow something began to pan out. At Jadwell Bank, someone decided it was time for a nice relaxing cup of tea. You got a towel with you, said Ford suddenly to Arthur. Arthur, struggling through his third pint, looked round at him. What? What? No. Should I have? He had given up being surprised. There didn't seem to be any point any longer. Ford clicked his tongue in irritation. Drink up, he urged. At that moment, the dull sound of rumbling crash from outside filtered through the low murmur of the pub, through the sound of the jukebox, through the sound of the man next to Ford hiccuping over the whiskey Ford had eventually bought him. Arthur choked on his beer, leaped up his feet. What's that? He yelped. Don't worry, said Ford. They haven't started yet. Thank God for that, and Arthur and relaxed. It's probably just your house being knocked down, said Ford, downing his last pint. What? Shouted Arthur. Suddenly Ford's spell was broken. Arthur looked widely around him and leaned to the window. My God, they are knocking my house down. What the hell am I doing in the pub, Ford? It hardly makes any difference in this stage, said Ford. Let them have their fun. Fun? Yelped Arthur. Fun? He quickly checked out of the window again that they were talking about the same thing. Damn, they fun. He hooted and ran out of the pub, furiously waving a nearly empty beer glass. He made no friends at all in the pub at lunchtime. "Stop, you vandal! You homewreckers!" bawled Arthur. "You half-crazed mijkors! Stop, Elio!" Bud would have to go after him. Turning quickly to the barman, he asked for the 4 packets of peanut. "There you are, sir," said the barman, slapping the packet on the bar. 28 pence, if you'd be so kind." Bud was very kind. He gave the barman another £5 note and told him to keep the change. The barman looked at it, and he looked at Ford, and suddenly shivered. He experienced a momentary sensation that he didn't understand because no one on earth had ever experienced it before. The moment of great stress. Every life form that exists gives out a tiny subliminal signal. This signal simply communicates the exact, almost fantastic sense of how far that being is from the place of his birth. On Earth, it's never possible to be further than 16,000 miles from your birthplace, which really isn't very far. So, such signals are too minute to be noticed. But Perfect was at this moment under great stress. He was born 600 light years away in the nearly vicinity of Betelgeuse. The barman reeled for a moment, hit by a shocking, incomprehensible sense of distance. He did not know what it meant, but he looked at Ford Perfect with a new sense of respect, almost awe. "Are you serious, sir?" he said in a small whisper, which has the effect of silencing the pub. "You think the world going to end?" "Yes," said Ford. "But this afternoon?" But to recover himself, he was at his pleased. "Yes," he said gaily. "In less than 2 minutes, I would estimate." The barman couldn't believe this conversation he had having, but he couldn't believe the sensation he had just had either. "Isn't there anything we can do about it, then?" he asked. "No, nothing," said Ford, suffering the peanuts into his pocket. Someone in the hushed bar suddenly laughed raucously at how stupid everyone had become. The man sitting next to Ford was a bit soiled by now. His eye weaved their way up to Ford. "I thought," he said, "that if the world was going to end, we were meant to lie down or put a paper bag over our head or something." "If you like, yes," said Ford. "That's what they told us in the army," said the man, and his eyes began to long track back toward his whiskey. "Will that help?" asked the barman. "No," said Ford, and gave him a friendly smile. "Excuse me," he said, "I've got to go." With a wave, he left. The pub was silent for a moment longer, and then, embarrassingly enough, the man with the raucous laugh did it again. The girl he had dragged along the pub with him had grown to love him dearly over the last hour, and it would probably have been a great satisfaction to her to know that in a minute and a half or so, he would suddenly evaporate into a whiff of hydrogen, ozone, and carbon monoxide. However, when the moment came, she would be too busy evaporating herself to notice it. The barman cleared his throat. He heard himself say, "Last orders, please." The huge yellow machine began to sink downward and to move faster. Ford knew they were there. This wasn't the way he had wanted it.